What's up with my guys? Welcome to another episode of the Mind If I Crash podcast. It feels good to be back right now. I'm in the home studio. I'm sure you noticed some changes. It's been a minute since the last time you've gotten a podcast specific episode. I've been uploading content on multiple platforms. Podcasts have been coming at the end of the to-do list, but it feels really good to be doing this right now. I have the setup. The home studio looks a little lit, I'm going to be honest. And I'm excited to talk to you guys today. We're going to catch up on what's been going on with me. I'm a vent like I always do. I got some attacks on Red Pill Media because I've stayed silent since I launched this podcast in 2020. But overall, it's time to really take off on Red Pill Media and the influence they have on young men. And Fresh and Fit in particular. Y'all, you two dorks are not safe today. I'm coming for your heads. Let's get into this week's episode. I'm excited to be back. This feels good. Right now. Let's get into it. First thing I want to talk about. One, I'm sure you've noticed the new logo up in the corner. I was messing around, and me and my buddy Travis were messing with a few things on Photoshop. And I always wanted something that one kind of flowed together. So I opened the app. He was messing on his computer. I was messing around on mine. He came up with a logo that I really love and I want to use for the merch. I'll pop that up on the screen. And then I came up with this. Very simple. But if you know the MIIC for Mind If I Crash, then you know what the logo is, right? It makes sense. It flows. And I think it's really simple. The main goal is to provide merch, so what's a logo I can put on t-shirts and not be anything crazy, right? If I decide to stitch it, do a heat transfer, whatever, as long as the logo is simple, it should be fairly easy and quick to make. So I don't want to have some extravagant design where it's then takes too long for someone to make. So I came up with this design, as you see here, the standard black and white, kind of just being the main original logo, and then I'll have some color waves available. A lot of people, when I put the photos up on Instagram, a lot of people love what I call the Miami Nights color wave, which is, a turquoise and a hot pink. I always loved those two colors. When I was, a kid and I was skateboarding, my mom would always buy me this brand. It was called Crew, and they spelled it K-R, a 3, and then a W. It was dope wear. But my mom would always buy me these Crew sweatshirts and t-shirts, and that was always seemed to be a pretty consistent color theme with a lot of their stuff, or at least the stuff that she would get me. You got to remember, this is 6th, 7th grade. It's I didn't have a job then. I certainly didn't have money. So yeah, you're right. I'm going to wear what my mom got me. But to be fair, my mom had great style and a great sense of fashion for she never messed with skateboarding until I got into it. So hats off to her. She always bought the dopest shit for me. And I really appreciated her for that. Shout out to the moms. First off, shout out to the moms. Y'all do the most. But yeah, here's the color waves. I'm going to drop all the color waves that I have so far. Let me know what you guys think. Here's the other thing, right? Because obviously I said merch. I'm thinking that my buddy Travis, he's got access because he's got, clothes that he sells. He's got a whole line on Amazon that he has access to. So I'm thinking that he already offered to let me use a few of his spots to sell my merch through the holidays. So if anyone wants to get Mind If I Crash shirts, they can before Christmas, and they can do it with Prime. So I'm thinking about using that. And so basically right now what's going on is I'm in the process of applying to be a merch seller on Prime, but it takes a while. It takes 14 days for them to review, which I do have, a business established. So I was able to submit that and submit my claim under that, if that's the right word for it. So once I get accepted, I can obviously list all my stuff and you guys can buy directly from me. But really, the main thing is just getting the clothes out there. It's not about making a profit. It's not about if I was the one to sell it, right? To me, it's just being able to provide it, because since I've started Mind If I Crash, 3 years ago now, people always wanted merch, and I wasn't really able to do it outside of like stickers and then t-shirts that were more so like print once ordered. With Amazon, they can make it, they'll provide the shirts. It's like all the stuff that was hard to do, and especially hard to do in COVID. Like, you guys don't see what goes on behind the scenes, but like during COVID, there was shortages on even like regular plain colored t-shirts. So I would call these places that do custom tees, and it was either one, way too expensive per shirt or per unit, or two, they just didn't have the options. And we're talking a plain white t-shirt, plain black t-shirt, plain gray. They just didn't have them. So it was really, really tough to get that off the ground. I was able to like make a shirt for me, or, something like that. So I really want to be able to provide something that can be done and done quickly. Amazon's probably the best way to do it. Quality wise, he showed me some of the stuff that he's been able to get. He's made me some products before that like I wanted. Like I got like a Purdue Pharma, and it just said like fuck Purdue, and it was like the Purdue Pharma logo. I'll pop a picture of it up. It's actually kind of dope. But the quality's always been good, and it's consistent work. So let me know what you guys think. If I did merch and did it on Amazon, is that ratchet? Is that convenient? You guys could get it with Prime within days, so you guys could shop pretty much from now all the way up until Christmas, and get it for either yourself or, someone who listens to the show. Anything. There's so many different options there. Let me know what you guys think, though. I'm actually genuinely curious if you guys would buy merch if it was available on Prime, Amazon, not Prime, but Amazon. And then if the option was available to Prime ship it, would you still do it? I'm just, I'm trying to get things done. It's really tough because it is just me. I don't ever want to like complain about it, but it's just me. So ultimately, I try to make a lot of things happen at once. And it's tough sometimes, but let's not get off on a vent session. So moving on. If you guys have noticed, you guys follow me personally. I work at a Harley dealership now. I was able to take a great opportunity with someone who is, someone I respect dearly. Basically reached out and said, "Hey, I have a really good opportunity for you to come join Harley Davidson. It's a step up in your career. It just made sense for me." And he wanted me to, work side by side with him. Technically underneath him, let's be clear about that. It's not like we're partners here. But he gave me an opportunity to take the next step in my career. And I would have been a fool to say no. He's been a great mentor, very, very, very talented, very smart, and very selfless when it comes to his approach on sales management and sales in general, So it's my style when it comes to sales. I'm very non-confrontational, make your decision, but I guarantee you I'm the best option. That's how I sell. That's how he sells. He makes a friend, makes a sale. That's somebody that I can continue to fine-tune my craft with. But I'm also now in a position where I can be a true mentor to other people. So I took the assistant sales manager and finance manager position with Harley Davidson about 6 months ago. A little over 6 months ago now, and I've been loving it. So that's some exciting news for me in my personal life. But yeah, guys, I'm really excited to get into just the fight news, everything. Let's talk about it. We're gonna take a quick break, and we'll get right back into it. Alrighty, and first things first, let's talk about Jon Jones. He was supposed to fight Stipe Miocic for the heavyweight title. He's going to be his first title defense, and the lead up to the fight looked amazing. And then Jon Jones gets hurt in sparring, and I believe he had a tear on his pec, a tear in his shoulder, a serious injury that calls off the fight. Breaks my heart. And it, I love the UFC, right? I have tons of favorite fighters. You guys know an active fighter that I love to watch is Israel Adesanya. One, because he stays so active as a champion. Well, not anymore, but I love fighters that I can watch and watch often. Something that I really loved about boxers back in the day, Mike Tyson, for example. One of my all-time favorite fighters of all time is Mike Tyson. He was so active. He was fighting so many times a year. So it's nice when someone's very active because I can enjoy them, but I can also enjoy them consistently. If, I'm sure that makes sense. With John Jones, he's had a very tough career. It's been hard for him to stay, one, eligible to fight, but also for him to, get in there and stay healthy enough. So, and one, mind you, I'm not saying poor John Jones, right? A lot of his inactivity is his own doing, right? John Jones as a fighter, amazing. John Jones as a person, that's a debatable conversation depending on who you're talking to. I like John Jones. As a man who's been through something, I know when someone's trying to just be better. Joe Rogan said it. He thinks John Jones is a bad man trying to be good. I wouldn't go that far and say that. However, I do think that John Jones is a troubled man and he is trying to be better. That is what I will say. And I can relate to that. None of us are perfect. However, John Jones as a fighter is as good as it gets. He, in my opinion, and many others, he's the greatest of all time. There's not up for debate. You can say Habib, you can say GSP, you can say a lot of people, but John Jones is the greatest of all time. So, I was really looking forward to this fight. He gets injured. I'm tore up about it, right? Because now I was going to get to really watch a fight that I was truly invested in. One, because of my love for John Jones, but two, because of my love for Stipe. He Cleveland's champ. Stipe is a great guy through and through, trains hard, as humble as it gets. He's character-wise, he's almost the opposite of John Jones. He's a very humble man, and it would have been really cool to see two guys that are considered greats, both UFC legends, go out there and put it all on the line for the heavyweight title, right? The baddest man on the planet, the heavyweight champion of the world. I would have loved to see that, and hopefully I still get to. I don't know if it's going to be anytime soon. Who knows how long the injury takes? Let me know what you guys think, though. Who did you predict to win? If you predict Stipe, I get it. It's a Cleveland-based podcast, so I can understand if you're going to go with Stipe, regardless of the facts there. I get it. I get it. All love towards Stipe Miocic. No shade at all. I just don't know if he truly has a chance against someone as good and as skilled and as big as John Bones Jones, but you never know. Fighter's chance. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Speaking of Israel Adesanya, though, you have no idea how hurt I was when I saw the outcome of Izzy versus Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland, he's all jokes, bros jokes. I mean, I get it. He's trolling, but he is a clown, and he's hard to take serious. His takes on a lot of things are insane. Like I said, my attack on the Red Pill media has been slim to none, mostly because it's murky waters with those dudes. It's just not worth it, right? They're almost too dumb for their own good. But someone like Sean Strickland, I mean, the dude grew up in rough conditions. He didn't have an easy. He certainly didn't have a fatherly figure to look up to. So overall, I get why he is the way he is, but I didn't think he stood a chance against Israel Adesanya. I know that whoever took Sean Strickland to win, I want to know what that winning looked like. I need to see someone's bet slip that took Sean Strickland beating Israel Adesanya. Even just like the money line, I want to know what that is. But Izzy's taking a break, which honestly I think is needed. As I said, very active fighter since becoming champion, just in general, but very active as a champion. I believe the most active champion to ever fight in the UFC. So he needs to take some time off. I am very confident this is not the best we've seen of Israel. I think that he comes back and he comes back much stronger. He's still very young, very talented. You know, he is elite. That is elite striking at its finest. His precision, his accuracy is insane. So I don't think that we've seen the last of Israel, and certainly not the last at champion. Someone that I did not like, and now absolutely love is Alex Pereira, his former rival, who now is moving up and is he's either the interim lightweight or he is the lightweight champion. I just don't know off the top of my head, and I'm not going to look it up on the computer at the moment. But, he took on a bad motherfucker and held his ground and won. So shout out to him. Fighting Yuri was certainly not easy. Both of those dudes hit hard. They hit really hard. I remember watching Pereira swing and being like, damn, you could tell if those connect, it's putting you out. And that's what he does. When he swings, he puts people out cold. He puts them on their heels, then to their ass, then their head hits the canvas and it's lights out. So, the UFC is getting very, very sharp. That roster, next to none. Also on Combat Sports News, I did see that the PFL just acquired Bellator. Not sure why. Not sure if it was the smartest move, but I get that when you have a powerhouse like the UFC kind of running things, the PFL's got to take its scraps wherever they can. So interested to see kind of where that goes. I know Jake Paul's he's probably a very low level piece of the PFL, but I know he is still at least somewhat of a partner with the PFL, so maybe he's just a spokesman. I honestly, I don't know. But I'm curious to see what the PFL does with Bellator, and if they just merge the rosters into PFL. There's so many things they could do there. So let me know what you guys think about that deal. Onto the content creator fighting, though. I want to say last month or a few months ago, they had the KSI Logan Paul main card. They almost advertised it like they were going to be fighting each other for a third time, but they weren't. They both had their own opponents. So Logan Paul's fighting Dylan Dennis on what would technically be considered the undercard, but they wanted it to be even, so it was there was two main events. That's how they framed it. But he still fought second to last. So he fought on the undercard, or the co-main event. And then the main event was KSI versus Tommy Fury. Now, Logan Paul did get his first win, his first professional win. Shout out to him for that. Although the fight was hard to watch, he fought Dylan Dennis, who had been trolling his lady for months. If you guys don't follow the influencer boxing, I'm still pretty sure that you've seen what Dylan Dennis was putting out about this man's wife, or soon-to-be wife, his fiance, Nina Agdal, who's a supermodel, I believe. It's a low blow to go for a woman that's not even really she's not the one you're fighting. So why you're attacking her is beyond me. But I guess it's the fight game. You gotta do what you can to get a rise out of your opponent and try to get in his head. I just think he took it a little bit too far. Maybe that's just the way I am. I'm never gonna attack a woman, verbally. Obviously not physically, but I'm never gonna verbally attack a woman. I just don't really see what the point is, whether I'm fighting her man or not. There's no reason to attack her. But that's the route Dylan chose to go, and he was relentless with it. He's posting probably over 100 photos of her with different men, trying to get Logan and get him upset. But when the came time to fight, Dylan was not active at all. Dylan swore a knockout, said, I'm going to starch Logan Paul, just wait on it. It's going to be a guaranteed knockout. If I don't knock him out, I don't consider it a win. Not only did he not knock him out, I don't think he landed more than 5 shots the entire night. He might not have even thrown more than 5 shots the entire night. And then maybe 30 seconds or a minute left in the last round. He keeps, shooting for a takedown, shooting for a, he wanted to do a guillotine. He wanted to do a standing guillotine. He tries to slip a standing guillotine on Logan Paul in a sanctioned boxing match, and Logan Paul slips it. Mind you, it's probably hard to lock your hands with boxing gloves. I know it's hard to lock your hands with boxing gloves. So Danis falls to the ground. Logan throws a shot. Danis gets up. Security storms the stage. It was this whole ordeal. If you saw it, you know. But if you don't watch influencer boxing, this was chaos, right? Because although it's influencer boxing, this is still very much a professional boxing bout. So to see this happen was insane, especially on DAZN, where like they're now one of the heavy hitters for pay-per-view boxing. It was crazy to witness, these two going at it, and Logan finally getting a win though. Logan being from Ohio, I'm happy to see it for him. The Paul brothers have really, my opinions on those two boys has changed a lot since they first got into the boxing space. I didn't really care for them too much. I respect them much more now. And it's not like I tune in now hoping that they get beat up. It's almost the opposite. I'm looking to see how they've improved since the last time they fought. I thoroughly enjoy watching them now, and I think that they knew people were going to have their doubts when they first started, but at this point, it's undeniable that these boys have raw athletic talent, both of them, Jake and Logan. It's undeniable about that. I love to see it. Jake has a fight coming up against would on paper at least be a pretty good boxer, a no-name boxer, but I want to say 10-1 with 8 knockouts. I might be wrong there somewhere with one of those numbers, but usually I'm pretty good. Somewhere like that, and then they fight, I think, at the end of December. So excited to see that one. Let me know who you guys take for the new Jake Paul and whatever that guy's name is. I don't even know his name. That's how much of a no-name he is. But let me know who you guys take in that fight. So then let's go on to the next fight of that event. We have KSI versus Tommy Fury. KSI, I don't know what it is about him. It's like as I've grown to like the Paul brothers more, I've started to dislike KSI almost equally. So like as my like for them goes up, KSI, my likeness of him comes down. I think he's too full of himself, but that's not what I'm really here to talk about. I'm here to talk about the temper tantrum he threw after he lost via what was during the event. They called it a split decision loss to Tommy Fury, but one of the judges miscounted his scorecard, and it ended up becoming a unanimous decision by Tommy Fury, a unanimous decision win by Tommy Fury. And KSI blew up. From the second they read the results, he's taking the mic from Tommy Fury's interview, taking the mic from Ariel Helwani, saying, you didn't lose. You just got the decision because your family's boxing royalty. They don't want to see, the sport doesn't want to see you lose to a YouTuber, this and that. Terrible sportsmanship, sore loser at its finest. Listen, when I lose, I accept it and I try to move on. There's certainly times where I am very upset when I lose, but to publicly embarrass myself like that would be crazy. If anything, I'd fight to get a rematch, but I would not throw the tantrum that this man did. If you saw what he did, he cried in the ring. He cried afterwards. He was punching and kicking screens. He's a child. He really shouldn't even be allowed to fight anyone besides YouTubers, but we've led them to believe that everyone can do what Jake Paul does, right? Logan couldn't even do what Jake Paul does. These guys, KSI, Logan Paul, any of the influencer boxers below them could not do what Jake Paul does, and that's a fact. Jake Paul trains harder than all of them. He is more technically sound than all of them. And overall, he's got more promise than all of them. I'm not saying that, Jake Paul is going to be a world champion one day. He could. He could. I'm never going to say he can't be something. I don't know that. But none of them are as good as Jake Paul. They don't want it as bad as Jake Paul. So for them to even believe that they're able to obtain what Jake Paul has is ridiculous. They just don't want it as bad. It's chaos. And I'm going to leave it at that. Influencer boxing is, I feel like, starting to die. So really the last thing to do, I think, for someone like KSI, who only has so many options, right, would be try to get the fight with Jake Paul before Jake Paul starts only fighting boxers. And, I'm sure Jake Paul would start to pursue, a title of some sort. So get that fight with Jake before he starts only exclusively fighting boxers in pursuit of a title, so that you can make that dumb influencer money off an event, and then put it to bed, right? Let Jake do his thing. You guys go and do your thing. You guys are rich without having to box. I get that everyone wants to be the baddest man, the baddest influencer. It doesn't matter. You're going to make money other ways. You have Prime. You've got music. You're good, dude. I promise you're good. Let me know what you guys think, though. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm being too hard on KSI. People love KSI. I get it, right? I think he's annoying, but I'm not a young man anymore. I'm obviously not a teenager. I'm not even in my young 20s anymore. So like my views on the way men should act have changed dramatically since I first started this podcast. If you went back in episodes, the things I'm saying right now would be quite the contradiction. So I get it, but my outlook has changed on a lot of things since starting this show. A good way to transition, though, one thing that has not changed is my outlook on Red Pill Media. Fresh and Fit. Your time has come, alas. So I would just say this, right? The two dudes that created Fresh and Fit, they're two dorks, they're two dweebs. Their premise for creating content is basically to shit on women and tell the world why men should be able to, high value men should be able to sleep with multiple women, but women should only have one man and be in a closed relationship. But their man should be able to be in an open relationship, which is a wild take, by the way, an absolutely crazy take. But that's their thought, and that men are the prize in relationships. Now, this does two things that I truly disagree with, which I can address first. But what I really want to address first is the fact that, one, these dudes could not hang with real men. I'm going to pop a photo of them up so you can see what they look like. These boys would never, ever, ever make it in the real world. They would make it. They wouldn't make it with that ideology. Like there's no shot they could spew that in the real world. I think they live in Miami, so of course they get away with it. Miami's fucking insane, and the people there are different. I get that. But you could not be in a majority of the United States, in most towns, in most cities, and spew that kind of shit and not have serious repercussions. So that's what I want to talk about first. The fact that, one, what these men are saying, they're not qualified to even say. You look at them, you look at who they are, you look at their personalities outside of the dumb stuff that they spew on their show, they're really not that interesting. One sits there like he had a lobotomy done. One just sits there, barely talks. When he does, he calls women bitches, tells them to shut the fuck up. He's the lesser of two evils, but he's still a fucking dweeb. He says that he's got real game. That dude has none. He has none. You put either of them up with a real ladies man, and they could not get their shake off. I promise. I promise they couldn't. What they basically, their approach to getting ladies and their quote unquote game is they go on websites or apps that are meant for sugar babies trying to find sugar daddies. They create an account. Once they match with these women, they then try to sell women on the fact that they're not going to be their sugar daddy, but they would still date them, which is that's the wildest approach to dating I've ever seen. But then they also wonder why their opinion of women is so skewed, because they're looking for potential life mates on an app that's not necessarily designed for dating. It's more of a transactional app. And so, of course, their views are men want sex, women want attention, because of the way they're going about finding potential partners. So but they pride themselves on, we've got game. We don't need money or status. We're not doing this for clout, when in fact they are. I've seen one of them on a Grant Cardone clip getting roasted. So you're not alpha men, right? Because I've seen you guys get destroyed before. You cannot produce a solid argument with anyone unless it is a young woman who has little to no life experience, and then you roast these young women who are, maybe one, still impressionable, so maybe that's how you pull them, but two, you roast them for what? Do you feel better after, is I guess the question. And I even doubt that, degrading other people probably isn't. Let's put it this way. I don't feel good shitting on you guys right now, but it's also very important to note that young men should not be taking advice from two dumbasses like this. So there's the one, right, that has, that looks like he's got a lobotomy. He kind of sits there with his eye and he'll be like out of it the whole show. And then there's this dickhead, Myron, I think it's Myron, who spits out dumb shit the entire time and is constantly demanding respect from the panel, and always has some dumb shit to say. He's very homophobic, which is strange because I'm going to pop up these photos. I don't know why you're so homophobic when this is in your past. It's a little sus. It's a little weird. It's okay, but don't make homophobic comments if you know that things like this could come around and bite you in the ass. You look like an asshole, right? Don't attack anyone. Don't attack women. Don't attack the gay community. Don't attack anyone, right? It's not your place to do it. And you're not an influential alpha character. You're just some misogynistic, narcissistic fuck. And that's all you're ever going to be if you continue to go around these types of people and host these types of shows. You guys just got demonetized on YouTube, which is hilarious to me, because now what? Now what do you do? Those episodes don't hit when you're not making the big bucks anymore. The ladies now are going to be able to say a lot more than what you would probably let slide, just so you hope that you get a viral clip. It's a little pathetic, if you ask me. It's a little far-fetched. It's out there. But at this point, now you guys can't abandon this ideology, because now you're demonetized. There's no one winding the clock. You now got to stick to your guns, because if you do switch up, you're going to lose that fan base you work so hard for. My only hope is that your fan base wakes up and realizes that you guys are the type of dickheads that would be in a nightclub with bottle service asking for women that are in the bar to come into your club. And then you guys are also the same dickheads that would inevitably get kicked out of the club for doing or saying some weird ass shit to the women inside there. Those are the two dweebs that you two are, and you don't want smoke. I promise you, you don't want smoke. You guys are idiots. So if you listen to Fresh and Fit, that's for you. If you do actually like them, though, you gotta fill me in on why. There's 1% of things that those men say that actually has some truth to it. 1%, and they've got hundreds and thousands of hours of content on the internet. 1% of the shit they say even holds a little bit of truth. You gotta let me know what you see there. Guys, this has already been like over 30 minutes of me rambling. I just needed to make an episode. What's going on for Christmas? You guys let me know. Let me know what you guys want to do with the merch. Make sure you DM me. If you guys aren't following, because I say this every episode, I'm still very active on TikTok, still very active with the live streams because I'm able to engage with people live and interact with people a little bit better. So follow the Mind If I Crash TikTok. Follow Mind If I Crash on Instagram. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. And let me know what you guys want to see in the future. Obviously I have the home studio set up. I've done at least one episode here before, but I also have the studio at the tattoo shop. So let me know what you guys want to see. We'll make something happen. Guests, whatever. I'm down. I'm with it. Let's make something happen. I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. I hope you guys have a good holiday if I don't make anything before then, but I'm really going to try to. I miss you. I love you. Shout out to you guys. I love you all. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode. I'll see you very soon.